now against Blank Blue.
Maybe they've been boot camping on the moon.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why. Maybe
actually, I think they were in Sydney. I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Or the moon.
Maybe you've got info that I don't.
Is there a Sydney on the moon?
I don't suspect that there is.
New Sydney.
Anyway, Legacy, it's do or die now for them. Well, it's not really die, is it? It's do or get knocked down to third place.
Look, which is, to be fair,
significantly less bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but it's definitely not as great as second. Legacy starting off on attack once again. Blank choosing to defend after winning the previous match and not getting the map pick. Wuvo takes a bit of damage to start things off here. Stays alive for now, pushes through. No one yet on the point here for Legacy on attack, but they've got a long way through. And under the first one to go down. Frog is so close. Huge. See you later. Wuvo with 2 great picks. And should one after the other continue to find these kills. But Adam and Gob, they've come back. They've made it harder. Wuvo all by himself on the point for now. You can see support coming through from below. This might even work.
Yeah, very good stuff out from Wuvo there. I was going to say, I actually don't mind him playing Pharah here. There's a lot of angles that you can exploit from up high. And Wuvo has definitely been having a pretty good time on that Pharah. We saw on Numbani, he was doing a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it wasn't quite enough for Legacy. Now, though, they've got a good opportunity here. A great first cap, and now a lot of time to play with on that second.
Time, or an opportunity perhaps for Wuvo to get a Rocket Barrage and do a little bit better with it than last time. We'll see how this plays off. Maybe the redemption is here. Jordan, 99%. There is 100.
Where's Strawbella?
Adam catches him out.
There's the res.
There we go. Resurrection coming through. Let's try this again.
No, it's not going to be enough. There was too many players already lost there for Legacy, and while Wuvo does get the D-Mech onto Adam, Legacy will have to back off now. I suspect we probably will see Wuvo swap off the Pharah. Does seem like he's not having a great time there on that second point, and indeed the case. He'll go on to the Soldier. Not a bad choice for Legacy. The first point, the first push rather, does not work out for them, but they're coming up on a sound barrier. They've got the Pulse Bomb. Valkyrie's up. Cinderella's got Primal Rage as well, so a lot to work with for Blank Blue in the next one. However, they will have a Dragon Blade to contest with, and we know how dangerous Micro can be with that.
Yeah, if they can find Micro very early on, that would certainly help. But it's a big ask. We'll see whether it's a matter of someone jumping on top of him. Talking about getting jumped on, that's Wuvo for now. And Strawbella going down. Skull takes one back, but Wuvo, I don't even know what he did there. Fired a rocket into himself or something.
That's the dive comp in a nutshell, Ben. You're going to see the Genji, you're going to see the Tracer, and Strawbella down to basically no HP, gets dove upon straight away. Wuvo can't protect her on the Soldier. Like, what are you going to do? Yeah. When there's 2 or 3 guys jumping at you, you're a Soldier.
Look, Soldier's got the shift to run.
Mid-long range.
Yeah, you can run real quick, but it doesn't really help that much in the end.
Not when there's players on top of you.
No.
And so far, Blank Blue have done a pretty good job on the defense. They didn't really put much into that one. Pulse Bomb does, of course, get used by Signs, but aside from that, it's been a pretty cheap.
I was going to say the Nano Boost is almost ready to go, and it will get used. Micro now with the Dragon Blade, but where is anyone? There we go, finds Strawbella, and in the end she will go down, but that's one for a Dragon Blade. Cleans up Wuvo as well, so I guess that counts for something.
Yeah.
And Skull get picked up in the back.
I don't know if the Dragon Blade was entirely necessary actually from Blank Blue. It seemed like Gob had things pretty much on lockdown. Obviously Wuvo and Strawbella were more or less going to be untouched if it wasn't for that Dragon Blade, but they were in a position where they weren't going to necessarily impact that fight too much anyway after the first couple of picks from Gob. But for Micro, he kind of used it just before or just as those 2 picks did come across for Blank Blue, so you can't really complain about it too much. Just would have been nice to see them with it in this fight, and this is the one we're going to see Legacy have a bit of a better time. That's a good Pulse Bomb though from Sign.
Yeah, Tac Visor was only halfway through, and he goes down to the Tracer. Still fighting on the point. Everyone's still alive here for Blank. Sound barrier coming out from Legacy now. You can see that Wuvo's been resurrected as well. This might give him the fight. Caramel Koala has a Pulse Bomb ready to go right now. Might be able to get this onto Adam. Flies away. Uses the self-destruct actually to try and get out of there. Does D-Mech Adam. Cinderella goes down. Gob, the only one from Blank who's been picked up right now. They should be coming back onto the point.
Yep.
I don't think Legacy's going to be able to get a tick.
I don't think so either, Ben. Legacy, they had an okay time in that fight, and perhaps if Wuvo would have survived as opposed to not getting hit by that Pulse Bomb, Legacy might have had an even better one and maybe gotten away with that first tick off the back of the Tactical Visor. But Blank Blue, they're just not dropping as quickly as they need to be right now. Legacy need to find faster kills. And they're going to put Caramel Koala onto the Widowmaker, which, I mean, it could work, but now that that element of surprise is gone, I'm not so sure.
Widow's good, right? But I suspect Widow's probably less good when they have, like, you would have to get the pick and then dive straight away to make the most of it. Dragon Blade coming through. Who's going to get picked up? It's actually a Nano Blade. Caramel Koala goes down. Strawbella as well. Micro pushes through, chases them back. This push is over. Wow.
Micro's pretty pleased with how that one's gone by the looks of things. And, yeah, still not sold just yet on the Widowmaker, but Blank Blue, they did well to play around it. They engaged the fight on their own terms. They didn't allow Caramel Koala a lot of room to play with. You know, he only got 2 or 3 shots off before the dive was in effect for Blank. And now for Legacy, time is starting to tick away. They're at 2 minutes and 40. Where is those 6.5 minutes gone?
Yeah, that was a lot of time. They say time flies when you're having fun, Jordan, but I don't think Legacy's having fun right now. They push on, trying to find a pick here right at the spawn entrance. Adam going to get D-Mech. They're still fighting on the point. Still going. This looks a little bit better now. Micro's gone down as well. Trying to contest, but you'd like to think that Legacy should be able to find these picks. They do. Both the tanks are now gone.
They need to make it cleaner, though. Right now, we're going to start to see the stagger come in for Blank Blue as the respawns come across, and they still haven't actually managed to secure that tick. Cyan took a long time to go down there, and now Micro will be another problem to deal with as Nano Boost does come out onto him. He's going to be more difficult to take down. Not to mention jumping around like a crazy monkey right now makes it quite difficult to hit him. And again, Legacy, while they start off the fight well, they just can't get the follow-up picks that they need to close that out. They can't get that full wipe.
Yeah, they're not even getting the one tick here either. It's stuck at what must have been like 32.9% or 33.2%. And in the end, they get nothing for all of that. It looked real good, Jordan. But to be fair, Blank did a very good job of trading out damage on the point, keeping one person on there at all times, not letting them get that one tick done. And the time, as you said before, is just starting to disappear. Yeah,
now the goal, not necessarily for Legacy, is to get a fast time on that second point. It's just to capture that second point. They want to make sure that they can at least go through to overtime, worst case scenario here. But right now, they're not even looking really close to getting the point. Maybe it'll be a case of the Blank Blue where they cap it at the 11th hour. Micro with the Dragon Blade, though.
Dragon Blade in the backline as well. Strawbella, see you later, trying to chase down that Widow. Going to get forced back, but kill after kill after kill now coming over to Blank Blue. Legacy shut down once again, and you can see them getting staggered here with 45 seconds on the clock.
Well, it's a similar scenario as to what we saw on Nepal in that first point, where Legacy now have a good opportunity to actually come in here and get some damage done on that point. They've got a lot of ultimates available. Blank Blue don't have too many to play with. Now is Legacy's chance, but let's see what Blank Blue do to hold off. I mean, we're not going to see a big charge out from Gob this time.
Adam almost going to get D-Mech there from that pulse bomb. Stays alive with the heals coming out from the supports. But Primal Rage now popped as well, pushing through. About to run out of time, 13 seconds on the clock. They've found 2, but 2 may not be enough. Need to continue to get these picks. That's 3. 3 still alive, signed on the point. Nothing so far. Self-destruct gets rid of Cinderella. The resurrection you'd like to think comes out now from Strawbella. There you go. The Valkyrie popped to do that one. Pushing through into overtime. That's 1 tick. We're halfway there, though. Want to find that other 1.5 ticks on the point, but they have been cleaned up here by Blank, Jordan.
Yeah.
1 tick might be all we see.
Same story for Legacy. They get those first couple of picks, 3 in fact again, and then deja vu starts to set in where they really can't get rid of Cyan for some reason. He seems to be able to just dance around on that point as the Tracer caused so much of a problem. And of course, you're not going to be able to get rid of the Ana or the Zenyatta. They're just sort of hiding in spawns. So really, a very good defense from Blank Blue, but well within the grasp of Legacy. Unfortunately, not quite able to get the job done. But they still managed to get 1 point, 54% on the second as well. So, I mean, something to hold off with. But it's looking a little bit dangerous now for Legacy. If they drop this one, that's going to be the series over to Blank Blue, 3-0 so far. And they will secure their place in second.
Yeah, it's certainly not to the same degree as what we've seen from the previous 2 games, where it felt like it was closer. To be fair, though, on Numbani on the first point, Legacy obviously did not manage to capture that point, yet almost still won that game.
Exactly. So perhaps Legacy just feels a little bit more comfortable on the defense, and you know, in 10 minutes time or so, maybe not even, maybe in 5 minutes time, we're going to be talking about how Legacy had a wonderful defense on Horizon Lunar Colony and really shut out Blank Blue, and we're setting ourselves up for a great escort map. Let's certainly hope so, because I'd love to see this one go through 2-2-1, just to give us a little bit more excitement in map 4. But for Legacy Esports right now, again, it's a tough ask really to defend that. Typically speaking on Horizon Lunar Colony, you will see it go through to overtime. You'll see both teams cap out, generally with a decent amount of time to play with, and Legacy haven't been able to do that one. So now they have hard yards ahead of them.
Yeah, we've seen most teams get that second capture, though, to be fair, most teams haven't been up against blank.
That's true.
Look, I guess when you put it into perspective, and again, we talk about how at the start of the season, we're like, well, theoretically, Blank Blue is a top team in the region. And I suppose they are a top team in the region, but are they the top team?
Well, not right now.
I'm not so sure.
Definitely not right now. They've dropped quite a few series in the past couple of weeks to other teams, and so there's a lot up for contention when we do get to finals. But for now, Legacy still trying to secure their place in second for playoffs. It's still within their grasp, but this is their last, perhaps, dying breath.
Well, they need to hold out here. Otherwise, they will have to reside in third place. Find themselves up against Drop Bear. Micro straight away onto Danch. Gob going very low now here on attack. They're going to probably have to drop back with that 2 picks very quickly as well, coming out from Legacy.
It's a good counter dive really there from Legacy. You could see we saw Cinderella go forward, we saw Caramel Koala go forward, and despite Dench going down early on in the piece, Blank Blue lose a few players of their own, and really now at this point it's Caramel Koala versus Signed. Whoever comes away with this one might get a bit of an advantage for their team, but there's a big monkey to back up Caramel Koala there in the form of Cinderella. Not sure that the respawns will come across just yet, though, from Legacy, so they're looking a bit shaky.
Yeah, timing not so great here. Just getting a little bit caught out, perhaps trying to come back through onto this A point. Blank already on there right now, finding the first tick, looking to get the second. And, well, I'm not even sure how this is going to play out. I think potentially Legacy has to be very careful here. If they dive onto the point and then they lose, with Blank in a great position coming into point 2.
Yeah, well, this is not a good time to be getting picked, particularly when Blank Blue's so close to capping things up right now. Legacy, they're going to try and commit to this one, but it hasn't worked out very well for them at all. Caramel and Koala, the only ones to find any picks in that, and Legacy, they're going to all be wiped.
Yep.
Blank Blue do secure that first cap, and very quickly they should make their way to the second. Dench is in an awful position there as well. Oh my goodness, Ben, this could be bad.
This is not good. Dench being staggered there with the Transcendent. Cinderella using the Primal Rage on the point and only staying up for half that time as well. Going to push through right now. We'll see whether they can get out here on time. Only need about 60%, Jordan, 54.5.
They're nearly there.
Well, 55 even is what we want. And they might be able to get it here on attack. They've already found 2. Resurrection onto Cinderella. Transcendent's coming out as well. Trying to stay alive is Legacy. Wubo's been picked. Blank Blue all still alive for now. Sign goes down. No ultimates ready quite yet. But Micro, let's go. Dragon Blade. And this might be it, Jordan.
Well, he's going to be able to get the first kill there onto Cinderella. Another one comes out onto Skell as the DMAC does come into effect. And now that first stick has been secured for Blank Blue. That's bad news now for Legacy. And they're really just hanging on by a very thin string, Ben. Does not look like they're going to be able to do it either, as we do see so many picks come across for Blank Blue. I don't even know who's still left alive. Cinderella, it seems. Skull almost gets on the point in time, but not quite. And Blank Blue will win map 3. So they win 3-0. They secure their place in second. Legacy just not enough done there on their attack.
No, really a big congratulations going out to Blank. They will secure their season, having lost only 1 match.
Yep.
Locking themselves into second place. To be fair, they've had a great season. Let's be real. They played very well across the board. And even though we say, well, oh man, even though we say, great job, Legacy, you took some of these games real close. At the end of the day, that's 3 maps now that they've lost here.
Yep.
Blank clearly the better team.
So close yet so far. That was probably the most one-sided map we've seen actually so far in this series. I feel like Legacy didn't quite have what they needed on Horizon Lunar Colony, and I think maybe Hanamura might have been a better option for them. But look, at the end of the day, we can talk about this as much as we want. We're not in the team. We don't know how they think. We don't know what maps they like. And we can just sort of theorize as to what we see on the broadcast. Nothing else. I mean, we don't have any insight into the scrims or anything like that. So Legacy obviously thought that Horizon Lunar Colony was their best choice. They decided to go for it. At the end of the day, today, it was not.
No, certainly did not work out for them. It would have felt better maybe if they managed to get a capture there on the second point at least. Not to be, however. So now we will, of course, play our 4th and final map, but it's not going to really make all that much difference in the whole standings, will it? Because the for and against is not going to come into play here. One team's locked in second, one team's locked in third. Yeah,
it's just a pride match now for Legacy as they want to at least get something on the board here against Blank. It would be better than what a lot of teams have been able to do. So at least get one away from Blank, and Legacy can come out of this one with their heads held high. It's been a good series from Legacy, that's for sure. And I don't necessarily think that the 3-0 is representative of how close it has been for the most part. So Legacy can pat themselves on the back a little bit.
Yeah, I think they could have picked up those first 2 maps. Like they had the opportunity, and it was almost 50-50 on whether that would be the case. So, you know, sometimes things go in your favor, sometimes they don't. And it's always that little bit tougher up against an experienced team like we've got here.
Yep.
Blank Blue, even though they're a very young team by age, it feels like within the region they're still quite experienced.
It's an interesting choice here on Dorado for Legacy. They did pick this one, obviously. They've got a 100% win rate on it so far this season, but so too does Blank Blue. It was also the only map that they were able to beat Darksided on last time. So Legacy, they must feel pretty confident here on Dorado if they're going to go up against Blank Blue on it.
Caramel Koala almost going down here at the start to this Tracer. I've got to be real careful. Like, what are you doing in my house? Oh! Nice work, Wubo. Well done.
Yeah, that is nice indeed. But Frogger's going to be able to get the res across to Micro straight away. So no real harm done there for Blank Blue. And Legacy, they're really even struggling right now to get out of their spawn.
Yeah. Not so great at all. You can see that payload hasn't even made it through to that first regular choke point underneath the bridge there. Typically,
this is the easiest part of the map to actually push through. And Blank Blue, you know, you wouldn't necessarily expect them to be contesting it this hard. They might just fall back, but they're contesting it, that's for sure. And Wubo goes down there without getting anything done with the Dragon Blade. Great work from, well, everyone on Blank Blue really to shut him down. Hunter does get dropped straight away by Caramel Koala, but really at the end of the day, we're not seeing the picks that Legacy needs. We're certainly seeing them for Blank Blue.
With his damage coming out across the board from Blank, and Hunter will get resurrected there by Frogger as well in the background. So that payload getting stuck right here, and you said it theoretically is the, you know, typically the easiest point, and just naturally is the easiest place to start off because you've got your spawns right there.
Exactly.
You've got a protected spawn point as well.
You have a massive spawn advantage here on the attack, and you can trade 1 for 1, and it definitely works out in your favor. But right now, Legacy's not even able to trade 1 for 1. Blank Blue's trading 3 for 1.
Yeah, really trying to shut them down here. Skull finally finds one back, but by this point, one would expect maybe Frogger can get a resurrection. Strawbella goes down to Micro. More kills coming out across the board here for Blank. And Legacy at the start really struggling to get this payload anywhere at all.
Yeah, it just feels to me right now like Legacy have sort of taken their foot off the pedal a little bit. They really put everything into Nepal and Numbani, and then once Horizon Lunar Colony didn't go their way, they're like, well, we're out of this series now. There's not a whole lot more we can do. Let's just have a bit of fun here on Dorado. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem as coordinated, doesn't seem as good from Legacy as we would have expected from the first few maps.
Yeah, it could be for me something even as simple as Blank now were struggling before when they felt pressured, and now that pressure's gone, right? They're playing very far forward, playing very aggressive here.
Yeah, I would definitely say they're playing much more aggressive than one might normally expect from a team on the defensive side of Dorado. I think it's Blank Blue just trying to push forward now and have a bit of fun themselves, because it just seems like they want to continually fight. And it's working out really, really nicely for them. Their individual skill is proving to be a little bit too much for Legacy right now.
Well, that's it.
Blank Blue, a weight off their shoulders. Makes them play better, maybe.
A minute on the clock. Legacy really haven't shown us that they've got much to work with. Blank with 3 ultimates ready to go. Signed about to get a pulse bomb as well. As you can hear, 60 seconds now. That's where we're at. And we're not even at the bridge. We normally at least get to the bridge, Jordan.
Yeah, Hunter's hung onto the Transcendence there as well. So he's been really ballsy. Finally does pop it. And Legacy, they try to make that dive work. That's probably the first really coordinated dive, actually, that we've seen out from Legacy, I must say. It hasn't worked out too well for them, though. They do force the Transcendence. They only put the sound barrier in there themselves. They do have a lot to play with coming into what potentially could be the final fight here. Wubo on the Dragon Blade, Caramel Koala with a Pulse Bomb, Cinderella with a Primal Rage. Not to mention the Valkyrie coming up shortly as well.
That's it. This is the final push. This is their last opportunity, and they need to stay on the payload the whole way through.
But Micro has got a Dragon Blade.
He does have a Dragon Blade, and he's in a great position if he can stay alive. Look at that. Forcing them off already. Dragon Blade, here we go. Once again, we'll take a ride with Wubo. Micro. And he finds Wubo.
Well, that'll happen, I guess, when you're up against Micro. He just chases down Wubo. He doesn't want to let his quarry get away, and he does manage to get the better of that Dragon Blade between the two. Self-destruct out onto the point, but nothing to be coming from it. And Legacy, they really do look like they're just going to fall down and die here on Dorado.
See Wubo now swapping off onto the Doomfist. A self-destruct coming out. nothing in that one. Fighting on the point, still trying to stay alive, still not getting underneath that breach, though. Looking a little bit dire now for Legacy, Jordan. They have to stay here. They have to fight on top of the payload, or essentially this map is over. There is no way that they hold Blank out to 40 meters.
Yeah, and the healers right now for Blank Blue under absolutely no pressure at all. You can see no one's having a look even at Frogger. Frogger ends up actually killing Caramel Koala somehow, so it's all just going wrong right now for Legacy, and it just seems like a matter of time as they still continue to try and pile onto that point. But there's just far too many Blank Blue players there to deal with. Skull, the last alive, by the looks of things, will inevitably be dropped. And Blank Blue secure a very good hold there on Dorado, 39 meters and a half.
Yeah.
That's not a particularly scary prospect if you're Blank Blue moving on to attack.
No, I think, look, I don't have the stats in front of me, Jordan, but I suspect that's probably the shortest.
Yeah, I actually think it might be.
Of Aussie contenders.
I think it might be. So, yeah, it just seems like Legacy have gone, you know what, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, look. Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
For me, I think it's Blank now feeling like the pressure is off.
Definitely.
And they're playing how I would expect them to play up against Legacy. If this had been Legacy at the start of the season up against Blank at the start of the season, this is how I would have expected Blank to play against Legacy. A little bit disrespectful, right in your face.
It's a very interesting point that you make there, because I would have actually been quite interested to see how this matchup would have played out had Blank versus Legacy occurred in, say, week 1 instead of Blank versus Kanga. And I think that Legacy probably wouldn't have been able to contest quite as hard as they have today. Like I said, I think Legacy have been going from strength to strength throughout every week of the season. Every time we seem to see them play, they improve and they have a better result than the last time. But unfortunately, not enough still to deal with Blank Blue. But that bodes really well for this Legacy roster. I know that they've been putting in the effort. I know that they've been doing that boot camp for the last week. So if that continues perhaps for Legacy, they are going to be a very scary prospect coming into playoffs, coming into finals, and probably even coming into Contenders Season 2 as well, where they just have had a little bit more time to flourish in this sort of competitive environment.
If I had to go out and pick teams who I think have gotten the most out of being in Contenders here in Australia, Legacy would be up near the top of my list.
I would say they probably are, yeah. I think they've definitely, at least in my eyes, shown the most improvement. It's kind of hard to quantify for Blank, Darksided, and Masterminds because they've always sort of been at the top anyway.
That's it. It makes it difficult when you're already up there,
It's like, how much higher can you go?
And there's always that ceiling cap when everyone you play against is theoretically just that little bit lower than you, right? How can you improve? And
well, also the fact that there's not necessarily a bar to measure them next to against, as opposed to just fighting against each other. But for those teams, I actually think that they do scrim some international teams as well, Ben. So that's where I think that advantage does come from for the top teams.
On what, 150, 200 ping?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Which, to be fair, in a game like Overwatch, doesn't necessarily have as much of an impact as in some other games. Ping. Obviously, it's less than ideal, but it's workable.
Look at this, Legacy.
Oh, bye.
Yeah, not looking so good here. Wuvo got a pulse bomb. Both Gob and Micro, though, have taken a fair bit of damage. But there you go, Adam going to find 2. Ladies and gents, I suspect this is GG here. Blank Blue about to pick up Dorado on attack. 4-0 will be the score. Your Uber is here. Nothing to worry about. That was practically, it's almost like there was no fight at all.
Yeah, Dorado sort of felt like a foregone conclusion from the first couple of minutes that we did see there. Great work, really, from Blank Blue to secure the 4-0 today. There was some questions in my mind coming into it, thinking, okay, can Legacy potentially upset Blank Blue here? I would have answered yes coming into today, but Blank Blue have definitely showed that that was not going to be nearly possible. Obviously, the first couple of maps were pretty close there from Legacy, but they ran out of steam towards the middle stages of that and towards the late stages of that. And Blank Blue, they just were able to keep on keeping on, and a 4-0, good result for them. They secure second place, which means they're going to be up against either Jam or Knock, depending on who ends up winning our next match.
And yeah, to be honest, if you are Jam and Knock, watching that matchup, you go, I really do feel that I have a better shot up against Blank than I do against the alternative. Do you feel that, or do you disagree? Because that's my feeling.
What's the alternative? Darksided?
Yes.
I would say yes, you probably do. I think Darksided did look a little bit more solid throughout last week. Obviously, we haven't seen them play this week because they finished their matches. But I think Darksided did look like a bit of a scarier side there than Blank Blue. And there were some moments of shakiness, perhaps, for Blank that Legacy could have exploited and didn't quite manage to exploit. But as far as this goes now for Blank Blue, I think they're quite safely through to finals, if I'm honest. I don't think it's going to be particularly easy for Jam or Nock to upset them. I thought maybe it's possible for Legacy, but I definitely would peg Legacy above both Jam and Nock. And I think even if Legacy were to go up against Jam or Nock, it would have been a difficult ask for either of those two Group B teams. All in all, though, Legacy have to commend them for a fairly decent result today, despite going down 0-4. I think they showed some fight. I think they showed some spirit, and I'm very excited to see them go up against the Sydney Drop Bears in playoffs.
Yeah, and I guess I also want to commend the guys from Blank, who, to be fair, when it looked like they were down, they were not out. They brought it back, and a 4-0, no matter how close it is what you want to see. So congratulations, and congratulations on locking in second spot in your group. So here is today's schedule. That Mastermind's Alter Ego game got scrapped. Alter Ego, unfortunately, having to forfeit that one, which, to be fair, the result probably would have been the same. The Mastermind should have been able to beat Alter Ego. And we just saw Blank up against Legacy. 4-0 is the score. Overall, a pretty close game, closer than maybe we would have thought. We did think maybe that Legacy would have got a map. I had hoped that they would have got a map, but 4-0 is the score, so congratulations to Blank on locking that one down. But we have just one match left of the regular season. It's Jam Gaming up against Nock Predators. Elfishguy, and that one is coming up next.
Yes.
It's a very important game for both of these teams. You want to lock in third. Both of them are locked in to playoffs, but personally, I think third is better than fourth.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the theory, right?
Yeah.
Third place is better than fourth. Much of a muchness, really, because you're going up against either Dark Side or Blank Blue. Very tough opponents, to be fair, but maybe both of these two teams do fancy a crack at Blank Blue. So we'll see how things are going to go in that next matchup. I'm probably going to be backing Jam in that one, I think, but we'll talk about that one in a second.
But yeah, we can talk about it in a minute. And no matter who they go up against, Jordan, I want to see how they go up against each other, because really, both these teams have progressed quite a lot throughout the first season of Contenders here in Australia. And I want to see where they go head-to-head. So we're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, the last match of the night.